First story: Dead Mile on Highway 56. They say Highway 56 eats the souls of those who ride it alone at night. I never believed that crap until that night in October when I was hauling steel coils from Amarillo to Albuquerque. Name's Jake Turner. Been a long-haul trucker for 20 years. Seen storms that swallowed highways, deer flying through windshields, drunks trying to race semis. Nothing ever stuck with me. Nothing until I hit that damn stretch just west of Tucumcari. It was close to midnight. My rig's headlights cut through the pitch like two swords, and the CB radio was dead quiet. No chatter, no warnings, nothing. I remember passing a sign that read, "Welcome to Red Hollow, population 206. Funny thing, that town ain't on any map. My GPS started glitching, screen blinking like it was having a seizure. Then the temperature inside my cab dropped. I mean, really dropped. I could see my own breath. That's when I saw her, a girl, no older than 10, pale, standing right in the middle of the road with a stuffed rabbit hanging from her hand. I slammed the brakes so hard I felt my back crack. The rig skidded, jackknifed, but didn't flip. When I stumbled out, heart jackhammering, she was gone, just gone. I searched with my flashlight, nothing. Only the rabbit lying in the gravel, wet with something thicker than water. I tossed it back into the night. Should have turned back. I know that now. 10 miles later, the radio crackled. "Jake." Static. Then silence. "Jake, why did you leave me?" I swear I nearly pissed myself. That voice, it was my sister's, Casey. She drowned when I was 12. No one knew I dared her to jump in. I hit the gas. Didn't stop until I reached what looked like a gas station. Old school, like from the 50s. Neon lights flickering. A single pump. An old man standing under the awning with a cigarette that never burned down. "You lost?" he asked without looking up. I nodded, breathless. He pointed behind me. "You brought something back." I turned. In my passenger seat was the rabbit. Blood-soaked, breathing. I screamed, threw it out, peeled out of that station like hell was behind me. Maybe it was. The road started looping, every few miles. Same gas station, same old man, same damn sign. "Welcome to Red Hollow, population 206. But this time, it said 207. I blinked, drove faster, then 208. I kept driving. The numbers climbed, 209. Each loop, the girl got closer. First standing on the side of the road, then behind the pump, then in my sleeper berth, silent, staring. I tried to veer off-road. Trees grew where there were none before. I tried calling someone, anyone, but there was no signal. Then I stopped. I don't know why. My foot just froze. The girl climbed into the cab. Her eyes were pits, black holes. The rabbit sat on her lap. She said, "It's your turn now." And I understood. I wasn't driving anymore. The wheel turned without me. The gear shift moved on its own. Now I ride this loop every night. Gas station after gas station. Sign after sign. Last night it read, population 234. If you're ever hauling through New Mexico and see Red Hollow on your GPS, don't stop. Don't look at the signs. Don't pick up hitchhikers. And for the love of God, don't pick up the rabbit. Second story: the haunting on Route 72. I never believed in ghosts. Not until that night driving my 18-wheeler down Route 72 from Springfield, Illinois to Louisville, Kentucky. I was hauling a load of machinery, had just passed a quiet stretch of forest when everything started to feel off. It began with the radio flickering, static cutting in and out. I thought maybe the storm brewing was messing with the signal. But then the dashboard lights dimmed and the engine sputtered. I pulled over on the shoulder near a gas station that looked closed, like it had been abandoned for years. My phone had no signal. Great. I stepped out, the wind biting cold despite it being early fall. The station's sign hung crooked, the paint peeling like it hadn't been touched in decades. As I approached the door, I swear I heard someone whisper my name. "Jason." My heart jumped. I called out, "Hello? Anyone here?" Only silence answered me. I decided to check my truck's engine, but the minute I bent down, I felt a chill run up my spine. Turning around, I saw a figure standing by the station's old gas pump. A man, pale, wearing a stained white shirt, eyes hollow but staring straight at me. His mouth didn't move, but the whisper came again. "Jason." I froze. The figure started walking toward me, but when he was close enough to see his face clearly, it twisted into a grotesque grin, revealing rows of blackened teeth. I stumbled back, almost falling, and ran to my truck. Just as I slammed the door shut, the engine roared back to life on its own. I hit the gas, peeling off that cursed place, but the radio crackled loudly now, and a voice whispered over the static, "You can't leave." I sped through the night, but Route 72 felt endless, like it looped on itself. Every mile I thought I was gaining, I found the same old gas station looming ahead in the distance. The whisper followed, growing louder, more insistent. "Jason, stay." Desperation made me pull over near a rest stop. I climbed into the sleeper cabin, trying to shut out everything. Then, the window fogged up from the inside, and on it, words appeared as if written by a cold hand. "You belong here." I screamed and smashed the glass. The fog cleared, and outside, nothing but empty road and dark trees. I dared to breathe again. For a moment. Then, from the rearview mirror, I caught a glimpse of that pale man sitting beside me. His grin wider than before. His whisper. A cold breath on my neck. Forever. I've been driving ever since, circling Route 72, unable to stop. My phone's dead, my radio broken, and I haven't seen another soul. Every trucker who passes by tells stories of a haunted rig wandering the highway, but they never find it. Because I'm trapped, and this nightmare is my new reality. And now I'm warning you, if you ever drive Route 72 at night, watch your mirrors. You might just catch a glimpse of me. And if you hear a whisper calling your name, don't answer, because once it finds you, there's no turning back. Story. The Midnight Haul from Amarillo. It all started on a cold October night when I was hauling a load of refrigerated goods from Amarillo, Texas, to Chicago. The highway was almost empty, the moon barely lighting up the endless stretch of asphalt. I had been driving for hours, and the silence inside the cab was deafening, broken only by the hum of the engine and the occasional crackle of the CB radio. I was alone, as usual, just me, my rig, and the road. Around midnight, I pulled off at a rest stop near Wichita, Kansas. The place was deserted except for a few tired truckers catching some shut-eye. I grabbed a coffee, stretched my legs, and as I headed back to my truck, I noticed an old man sitting on a bench under a flickering streetlight. His clothes were worn, and his eyes looked hollow, like he'd seen things no one should. "Long night," I said, trying to make small talk. He just nodded, staring into the distance. Something about him made me uneasy, but I shrugged it off and got back in my rig. Hours later, somewhere near the Missouri border, I felt it, a chill crawling up my spine. The radio crackled to life with static, then a faint voice whispering my name. I slammed my hand on the dial, but nothing came through. The temperature gauge started to drop rapidly, even though the heater was on full blast. Suddenly, my headlights caught something in the distance. A figure standing in the middle of the road. I slammed on the brakes, tires screeching. The truck came to a shuddering halt just inches from the silhouette. But when I looked again, nothing. No one was there. I tried to shake it off, but then the dashboard lights flickered and went out. The rig was dead. I grabbed my flashlight and stepped out, heart pounding. The night was eerily silent, except for the distant howling of coyotes. Then I saw the truck's trailer door slowly creak open, though I hadn't touched it. My blood ran cold. I moved closer and peered inside. The refrigerated goods were frozen solid, but there was something else. A handprint smeared in frost on the metal floor. I slammed the door shut and jumped back in. I tried the engine again. Nothing. Panic started to set in. I reached for my phone. No signal. Hours passed. I sat in the dark cab, clutching the steering wheel, when the radio burst to life again. A chilling voice whispered, "You shouldn't have stopped." The door rattled violently. I bolted it shut and started the truck. The engine roared back to life, and I peeled out of there like a man possessed. But the nightmare wasn't over. At the next rest stop in St. Louis, I tried to check my load. The refrigerated trailer was empty. The goods I'd been hauling for days, gone. No signs of forced entry, no footprints, nothing. Just vanished. I reported it to the company, but they dismissed me, said I must have made a mistake. That night, in a cheap motel, I was awoken by a shadow standing at the foot of my bed. It was the old man from Wichita. His eyes burned like embers. "You took what wasn't yours," he hissed. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. When I woke up, it was dawn. The room was empty. But on the wall, written in frost, were the words, "The hall belongs to the lost." Since then, I never drive the midnight routes anymore. And every time I see a lonely figure on the highway, I wonder if it's the old man, or something worse, waiting for me to make the same mistake again. Because some loads, you just can't deliver. Fourth story. The highway doesn't forgive. It started like any other night. I was hauling steel beams from a plant just outside of Cleveland, heading down to a site near Knoxville. The CB chatter had died out, and the only thing lighting up the highway was the glow of my dash and the steady glare of my headlights. Somewhere past Chillicothe, Ohio, the road started to feel different. Too quiet, too still. I'd been driving for over 15 years, seen all kinds of weird crap, but nothing prepared me for what happened that night. I pulled into a rest area around 2 in the morning. There were no other trucks, just a single car parked all the way at the end, some old Buick, paint peeling off, windows fogged up. I thought nothing of it. Killed the engine, stretched out my legs, lit a cigarette. The air was thick and unmoving, like the whole forest around the lot was holding its breath. Then I heard it, a scratching sound. Not loud, just soft enough that it could have been a raccoon or something, but it kept going, rhythmic, like nails on metal. I walked toward the back of my trailer, thinking maybe something had gotten stuck. My boots echoed on the concrete. The light above flickered once, and then again. "Hello?" I called out. Silence, then a whisper, clear as day, just behind me. "You shouldn't stop here." I spun around. Nothing. Nobody. I backed up, scanned the shadows. The Buick was still there, but the windows weren't fogged anymore. I could see inside. There was a man in the driver's seat, but his head was tilted back at an unnatural angle, mouth wide open like he'd been screaming. I ran toward the car, knocked on the window. "Hey, you okay?" No response. I yanked the door, locked. Then, slowly, his head turned toward me. I swear to God, his eyes were pitch black. No whites, no pupils. Mouth just void. I jumped back, almost tripping over the curb. The engine of the Buick started on its own. No key in the ignition. I ran back to my rig, slammed the door shut, and hit the starter. The engine sputtered, wouldn't turn. I tried again. Nothing. The lights in the lot all flickered and died. Total darkness. Then my CB crackled to life. Static at first, then a voice. My own voice. "Don't leave. Stay with me." I yanked the mic from its mount and threw it into the sleeper. My heart was pounding out of my chest. I looked in the mirrors, no sign of the Buick. I flipped on the flashlight and opened the door, figuring I'd try the battery cables. The ground was wrong. It wasn't asphalt anymore. It was soft, wet, like mud. I bent down and touched it. Blood. The entire lot was drenched in it. I stumbled back into the truck, slammed the door, and locked it. I didn't know what to do. I just sat there breathing hard, watching the dark. Then I saw the figure. It wasn't walking, it was gliding. Long arms, no face, pale skin glowing faintly under the moonlight. It moved straight for the cab. My horn blared on its own. The figure stopped. Then it smiled, without a mouth. I blacked out. When I came to, it was morning. Sunlight pouring through the windshield. My engine was running. CB silent. Lot completely normal. The Buick? Gone. I asked around at the next truck stop. No one saw anything. No one else stopped at that rest area. One old guy told me it's been closed since a fatal pileup 5 years back. Said a trucker fell asleep at the wheel and killed a family of 3. That family drove an old Buick. They were never buried. I don't take Route 23 anymore. I go 2 hours out of my way just to avoid it. But sometimes, late at night, my CB still crackles, and I still hear my voice. Stay with me. Fifth story, midnight load to Raven Hollow. I've been a trucker for over 20 years. Seen it all. Storms, pileups, psycho hitchhikers, even a goddamn tornado once in Kansas. But nothing ever crawled under my skin like what happened that night in West Virginia, driving a load through the back roads toward a place called Raven Hollow. It was late October. The trees were bare. Moonlight cut sharp between branches like claws. I was hauling industrial coils, heading south from Pittsburgh down through the Allegheny backroads. My GPS had crapped out after Clarksburg. No signal, just darkness and an old paper map. I should have turned around right then, but I had a delivery deadline. I remember the sign when I first saw it. Welcome to Raven Hollow, Pop 243. It was old, wooden, chipped to hell. Looked like it hadn't been touched since the 70s. But it was the only road marked to cut 30 miles off my route. As I rolled into the outskirts, the town looked wrong. Not old like history, old like abandonment. Houses were intact but rotting. No lights. No people. I figured it was one of those near-dead towns. Folks moved out after the mill closed. About 3 miles past the sign, I hit something. Thump! The truck jolted. I slammed the brakes and jumped out with a flashlight. I walked back, heart pounding. Nothing on the road. No blood, no animal, no debris. Just a broken doll. A porcelain doll, pink dress, one eye missing. The kind of thing your grandma might keep on a shelf. I stared at it for a long time. Then I heard the giggle. A child's giggle! Behind me! I whipped around. Nothing there. Just the wind in the trees. I felt this icy dread rise in my gut like I'd swallowed a cube of dry ice. I got back in the cab and gunned it. A few minutes later, fog rolled in. Thick, wet, smelled like burnt plastic and old meat. My headlights barely pierced it. I slowed down, squinting, white knuckles on the wheel. That's when the radio turned on by itself. Crackling static. Then a voice, soft, whispery. You shouldn't be here. I damn near wrecked the rig, yanked the power cord out of the CB. Didn't help. The voice just kept coming. They're watching. I floored it. My 18-wheeler screamed down the blacktop. Trees zipped past like shadows with teeth. Then something darted across the road. Tall, pale, twisted. I swerved hard. Tires screeched. The truck jackknifed. I slammed against the window, dazed. Horn blaring into the void. When I came to, it was dead silent. My lights were still on. The fog had cleared, and standing in the middle of the road about 20 feet ahead was a man in a funeral suit. He didn't move, didn't speak, just stared. I tried the horn, dead. Tried the radio, dead. Then my engine shut off. He began to walk toward me, slow, deliberate. I locked the doors, reached under the seat for the tire iron. The man stopped about 5 feet from the grill. Then he smiled, like his face was made of cracking leather. And behind him, figures emerged from the trees. Dozens. All of them dolls, life-sized, porcelain skin, painted eyes, twitching, broken movements. I screamed. Next thing I remember, it's morning. Sunlight blazing. I'm parked on the side of I-64 near Beckley. No sign of Raven Hollow. No dolls, no funeral man. Just my truck. Scratched to hell. The coils I was hauling? Gone. I called dispatch. They had no record of my pickup. No job sheet. No logs. Said I hadn't checked in for 3 days. I've looked for Raven Hollow on maps, Google, local directories. It doesn't exist. But I know what I saw. And every now and then on the CB, when the signal flickers and static creeps in, I swear I still hear the voice. You shouldn't be here.